Welcome to my favourite horror movies.
Wise men say only fools rush in, but I can't help falling in love with you. Shall I stay? Would it be a sin if I can't help falling in love with you?
Number 10 of my favourite horror movies of all time is, of course, The Conjuring 2. This film was so good, guys. I watched this 3 times in the cinema. I absolutely loved it. I much prefer it to the first one. Well, not much prefer. The first one was still incredible, but this one had an eeriness to it that kind of spooked my body all over. See, like I've said before, I have a thing with The Exorcist and things to do with like the devil and ghosts and all that kind of thing. So any exorcism type movies, they just, they give me the heebies. They really creep me out. And the little girl that was in it, she done such a good job. I think she's probably been the best little actor I've seen in an exorcism film since The Exorcist. I think that's one thing that's wrong with horror movies nowadays, is that they rely too much on jump scares, and jump scares are good when you watch it for that time. It's a quick jump, but then it's done. And then you watch it a second time and it's not quite as good, and it doesn't quite as feel like a horror movie. Things that make horror movies for me are, creepiness, mistiness, spookiness, like unearthly things that just make your body shiver, make your hairs stand up. And for me, like I say, that's stuff with the exorcism and ghosts for me. I say I'm not superstitious, but I obviously clearly am, otherwise it wouldn't freak me out as much as it does. But I just love those kind of gentleness spooks in horror movies, and this one played all of them so well. The directing was beautiful. There was such incredible chemistry between all of the actors, and when he sat down and sang that Elvis song, I literally had tears in my eyes in the cinema. And my boyfriend looked at me and he was thinking, what in the world? But I had tears streaming, It was so beautiful, and it was just so lovely to see them come together in such a loving environment, even though they had so much going on. And to see that kind of togetherness, I really love, and they done such an incredible job. I just really can't tell you how well it was made. I mean, obviously, if you've seen it, you would know. But this one, yeah, most definitely has to be in my top 10. I love it. And this is like a solid 8 out of 10 for me. Very well done. And, if they do another one, I hope they do it just as well as the first two. So, The Conjuring 2. Number 9 is The Ring. Don't really need to say too much about this one. You all know what it's about. Obviously there's another one coming out soon. I'm kind of looking forward to it. We'll see how well that does when we watch it. But obviously this one's just creepy, the black hair drooping, and it's not what you want to see ever. So, yeah, The Ring. Number 8 is Jeepers Creepers, the first one. I like the second one, but it's a bit too showy. The first one I watched when I was young, and it literally frightened me to death. I never wanted to go outside by myself at night time, and I was always out by myself at night because I love playing out, but I always had to walk home by myself. And I would literally sprint home because I was so scared that something would just droop over from the sky and grab me and just rip me away somewhere. It scared me a lot. Number 7 in my list is the Amityville Horror. The original and the remake one with Ryan Reynolds. I like them both. This is in my top because, again, it was another one I watched a lot when I was a child. And I've always been quite interested in people's minds being overtook and them losing control of it, and they becoming this person that they're not. I've always been wildly fascinated with those kind of stories. And so I think this one, it was another one that scared me, because it's something that can happen in real life. People can just lose their minds and they can go on massive crazy rages and just slaughter everyone in their family or whoever they see. So it kind of frightened me a bit, that one. But, they done it really well. He gradually started to lose his mind. You could see him turning crazy. But nobody really would do anything about it, because they thought it would just be like a phase. It was just, new home blues. So it kind of freaked me out, because, that kind of thing can happen in life. And so, yeah, it's in my top. It'll probably always be in my top favourites, because it's kind of, again, it's another one that stuck with me since I was a kid. Number 6 is Halloween. The very first one. I really enjoyed this one. I still really enjoy this one. It still holds up to today very well. It's just one of those horror movies that you're just never going to get bored of. They can continue to remake them, but they're never going to be as good as the originals. I had a thing for the kind of movies where you'd have, the victims running away, screaming, pouring with blood, and then, the murderer would just slow walk, slow paces, but he would always catch up no matter what. He'd be waiting behind a door for you to run through, even though you were like a mile ahead of him. Number 5 is A Nightmare on Elm Street. These literally scared me to bloody death when I was a kid. They scared the life out of me. I never wanted to sleep. I would stay awake till like 3-4 in the morning just playing, computer games and playing on my PlayStations and whatever. I didn't want to sleep. I really didn't. It was one of those, another kind of like psychological ones where, you think too much about it, and then you think it can actually happen to you because you're thinking too much about it and you're tricking your mind to believing it's real. I thought that was going to happen to me because I believed it was real. I thought my mind was going to get tricked into it, and then it would eventually happen to me. And, somebody would just be watching me in my sleep and suddenly my stomach would rip open. Yeah, that scared me. Number 4 is The Sixth Sense. Do people consider this a horror movie or a thriller? I mean, I don't know. I personally consider it a horror movie because I cried when I was a child the first time I watched this. The part where Cole is locked in the cupboard upstairs and there's the red balloon floating up, and his mum's like, she's pulling on the door and shaking and trying to get him out, and he's screaming, and then she finally opens it and he just falls out and collapses into her, and he's like rushed to hospital. That one particular scene, I don't know why, but it really haunted me inside, and I cried because, again, it was another thing that I felt like could happen to me. When I was a kid, I saw things quite a lot. I still get really bad sleep paralysis, and I had one when I first moved into this flat. I think it was within my first week of being here. I was sleeping on a blow-up bed in my front room because I hadn't bought my bed yet, and I was having a sleep paralysis, and there was about 20 people in my flat surrounding my kitchen and front room area, and there was this girl sitting beside my blow-up bed holding my hand, and she was just looking deep right into me, and I shit you not, I was crying my eyes out. I was so freaking scared because she was holding my hand, and I tried so hard to let go and rip apart from it, and I just couldn't because I was, in my sleep paralysis. And then continuing in my sleep paralysis, I got up and I ran out, and as soon as I ran out the door downstairs, I somehow woke up back in my blow-up bed again, and everyone was just haunting around me, standing me. I still remember how the people look, and it freaks me out. So those kind of Sixth Sense ones, I personally consider a horror movie because they literally do scare me to tears, quite literally tears. Not so much anymore because I'm older, but when I was a kid, when I first started getting sleep paralysis, those kind of ones scare me because I thought I was Cole and I was seeing all these ghosts, and they'd want things from me, and so it was freaky as hell. But it's such an incredible movie, one of my favourite twists of all time, if not favourite. So The Sixth Sense. Now into my top 3. My number 3 favourite movie of all time, horrors, that is The Shining. Where are we? Should I hold it with this hand? There we go. So, yeah, this movie, another one, grew up with it, loved it so much, love Stephen King, he's my favourite. I'm not massive on Stanley Kubrick, but I love this one because it's Stephen King, even though it didn't do the book justice. It was still an incredibly incredibly wonderful film. Scary as hell, but wonderful. This is one that makes me turn as white as a ghost. You know, they don't need jump scares, they don't need music, they don't need talking, they just need two freaky little girls standing there staring at you with blood pouring out. That is all you need to scare somebody shitless. Stanley Kubrick, you are incredible. This film is absolutely glorious. Oh, I love it so much. Probably my favourite Jack Nicholson performance as well, along with One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. But The Shining. Another thing about The Shining is, you know, where Danny is just sitting there and he's like... And he's got like the dribble and spit just seeping out of his mouth. That is me when I'm in a shop buying Blu-rays. Can we all agree? Number 2 on my list is Carrie. This film is fucking awesome. I bloody love this film so much. I grew up obsessed with this. I'm literally obsessed with Carrie. I mean, you know, the film I love is the character I'm obsessed with. I'm obsessed with how her mind works. I'm obsessed with how different she would be if she was only bullied at school and not bullied by her mum. I'm obsessed with why her mum is so insane with her religion. It's pretty much an illness how obsessed I am with the character of Carrie. You know, I have done like essays on Carrie. I've done deep searching on the web about Carrie. I've done a lot of research on what Stephen King has to say about the character Carrie. I don't know what it is. It's kind of something that's just stuck with me. Like, I don't know. It's just part of my life, I think. I just love Carrie. I feel like if I had such a crazy religious mum the way Carrie does, I would be Carrie in real life. I think that's what it is. Maybe I just want to be Carrie, not so much the fact that, you know, she kills people and stuff. I think if she wasn't bullied the way she was, she would be such a nice person. And I'm just so fascinated with what she thinks about how her mind works, you know, her actions, and just the way people ticked her off at the end at the prom. And it's just a fascination of mine. It's a deep interest. It's a specific interest, and I love it so much. And it's not my number one favourite movie because, you know, watching a movie is completely different to being obsessed with a character. But it's definitely one that I watched as a child and always got scared about, always got really excited to rewatch it. And so it is, of course, number 2 in my list. The thing about this film is, when I was young, the bit that scared me the most was at the end where her hand just shoots through the grave. I don't know why. It's not even a jump scare, but for some reason it still scared me. It still made me jump, even though it's not a jump scare. I always look forward to that bit. And, you know, I don't care what people say. The one with Chloe Grace Moretz and Julianne Moore, I really enjoy it. I thought it was a good modern take on the film. Like, it wasn't incredible. You know, it's got nothing on this, but I enjoyed it. I thought it was a pretty decent watch. A couple of the characters irritated me a little bit, but as a whole, I thought it was pretty cool. But yes, this one. I mean, look at the blood just dripping from her. It's just, oh man, Sissy Spacek, she done such a good job. It definitely is a bone-chilling classic. Stephen King, you are a legend. Carrie.
They're all gonna laugh at you! They're all gonna laugh at you!
If you're still here and watching with me, guys, my number one favourite horror movie of all time is The Exorcist. Of course. If it wasn't in my top 10, then it's obviously number 1. This film, it literally is the scariest film of all time. Oh god, I cried myself to sleep so many times watching this. I felt so sick after watching this, like physically and mentally ill, because I was so scared. It was so bad how scared I was of this. It's so haunting. It's creepy little girl. I tell you what, she done such a good job acting in this. She was so believable as a character. Her acting was just so phenomenal that you didn't feel like you were watching an actor. You felt like you were watching an actual person that was being possessed by this devil. She done that good of a job. you know, when I was a kid, everyone said I looked like her. I don't see it myself, but apparently I did. So from times to come, you know, she's always probably going to be my Halloween dress up, I think, just because it's how people know me, apparently, as a very sick young girl being possessed. So, The Exorcist. This film's creepy, scares me. I never watch it by myself because I won't be able to sleep. No joke. I will not be able to sleep if I watch this by myself. So, The Exorcist. Let me know if this is in your top 10. Comment below your favourite horror movie of all time. And thank you very much for watching. Like, subscribe, take care, and I will see you in the next video. Thank you.